Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and here we are getting ready to start another conference schedule for this MTSU team in the Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2021 playthrough. So this is going to be my sixth season now. We've had really three good seasons in a row. Made it to the NIT 3 seasons ago. We've had back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances, managed to win our first game last year in the tournament against Maryland. We went in as an 8 seed. So things have been going good for this team. I've gotten them to where I really was hoping to get them. But I know as I'm recording this, just the last video I put up there was the episode where we were going to the tournament. And there was some good discussion from some of my viewers about, what kind of expectations can I have for this team? And maybe I'm going a little bit too overboard. I'm still wanting to get this team into the rankings. I'd like to get us into, further into the tournament. But I get it. This is, a team from this conference, unless you just have a long streak of dominance, like 10, 15 years of dominance. I don't know if you can say that you're going to have that kind of success year to year. So, yeah, I think we'll see maybe this season and maybe another season or two if that's something that's possible for this team, if it is an opportunity or a chance to get the team playing like that to where that, we're in that tournament year after year, and we have some seasons where we're ranked. I just feel like a lot of things are going to have to fall into place. Now, one of the things that I did, I guess, overlook from last season, if you count the Southern Miss, who just came out of nowhere to win the conference tournament and made it to that play-in game, if you count them, there were actually 3 teams who made it to the NCAA tournament from this conference. There was Texas San Antonio and Middle Tennessee, both got invites, and I kind of overlooked that. I didn't realize Texas San Antonio got an invite. So that's, I think that's a positive sign if that keeps up. But, one of the things I keep seeing is our prestige as a conference is still pretty low. We're still just 2 stars, and I'm not really sure. Maybe some of you guys can weigh in on this. I would have thought that having the kind of success that this team, Middle Tennessee and Texas San Antonio, that we were having, that would translate into better prestige. But so far it hasn't. I think we've gone up a little bit since I started this run with Middle Tennessee, but not a lot. And her team prestige is up there pretty good. We're not up there with, say, Western Kentucky, who's in the 50s. I think Old Dominion might have a higher prestige. I'm not sure. I'd have to double check. But the conference prestige is lagging, and I think that's part of it. Until we get to a big conference, we're not going to make we're not going to have a guaranteed 3-4 teams from the conference making it to that tournament every year. But I do think last season was a good showing for us, and the fact that we had 2 invites from the conference, I'm hoping that's a sign we're moving in the right direction. But I'm going to play through the first 9 games here of the conference, one of the schedule, and one of the things I've noticed, I think we might have a team this year who could be more legit than we are. If you look at how we're going into the conference schedule, you got 2 teams above us with really good records. Old Dominion 11-2, Southern Miss at 10-1. They have pretty high nets too. We're coming in at 23, which was higher than we came in last year. But Old Dominion is 12. I'm surprised they're not ranked, and here's why. Check out this schedule and the run that they've had to get to the start of the conference schedule. I really think they're going to be way difficult to beat this year. So let's look at this. So of their non-conference schedule, they had a really convincing win against Weber State. They beat Nebraska on the road by 7. Good win there. They took Stanford to overtime, lost by 4 on the road. They beat Virginia Commonwealth in overtime at home. Then they got to the Las Vegas Invitational. They won the Las Vegas Invitational by beating Seton Hall, Louisiana State, Georgia Tech. What a run that was. And then they followed that up by beating West Virginia on the road by 10 points. And then they had a kind of a mysterious loss here against Radford on the road. But still, that is really impressive, and it's got me scared. I know last season we were able to pull out a 13-5 record in conference, and we managed to win the regular season conference title. We then got just, that Southern Miss team had one heck of a run in the conference tournament, underdog against everybody and beat everybody. But we made it to the conference tournament final. I think Old Dominion's going to be the team to beat now, unless they just had a really good streak there, and the team we see in the conference schedule is not the same team. But we're playing them twice, once on the road, and then we end next to last game against them. So that's a team I'm hoping we play well against, but if we don't, it wouldn't be a surprise. I feel like right now they have got to be the team to beat in this conference. So let's get it started. We'll hopefully get through the 9 games like I like to get through half the season in this one episode. I don't know what I'm shooting for. I don't even want to attempt that. I mean, we're 8-3. It's pretty good. Same record we had coming into last season's conference schedule, but first game out last season, we lost on the road to Louisiana Tech. Old Dominion, they win big against Louisiana Tech. So let's see. We got North Texas, not a pushover, but we win pretty convincingly, 83-61. Wilcox is a good game. Steven Johnson, who is, his point totals are up this season. I think another commenter had this to say, and I think it's kind of what I'm feeling in terms of his scoring, how it's gone down. I think he was a little bit better with that flex offense, and maybe that's how he was getting some points. But this was a pretty steady, convincing win. Defensively, we held them under 40%, out-rebounded them 40-27, beat them in the turnovers, and then we shot 52%. Johnson, 7 of 12 from the field, threw up some air balls, looks like, in three-pointers, but he had a good game. Look at Hansen. When your shooting guard doesn't score any points, that's troublesome. He did have 8 assists, though. He is the leading player when it comes to assists. I like his numbers. I don't know why they haven't really translated into good numbers, game to game. And Wilcox, I've said after last episode, he is going to get a double-double before it's over. He had 18 points, 9 rebounds. This guy's just a junior 4-star, really turning it on as a power forward. I expect him to hopefully develop even further. And then off the bench, good bench play. A lot of pluses here. Vining, 9 points. Drexler, 8 points. He's another one I'm hoping develops. I think he's a small forward. I can't... let me double check while I'm thinking of that. I think he's a small forward, but Drexler, yeah, he is a small forward. He may be in the running to take over from Baxter, who's a senior and leaves this year. But anyway, that was a good win. Let's get back to the games. We're going to have Marshall on the road next. And then, 2 really tough ones. Southern Miss, Old Dominion on the road. I think it depends on how we play against those two in terms of, are they the teams to beat this year? Southern Miss must have put something together last season to get into that conference championship and win it. So maybe they're a young team that's, going to be a problem for this conference for a few seasons. I did take a look at Old Dominion's depth chart. They are a young team with some good depth, so they're not going anywhere. So now we got Marshall. So this will be a first challenge on the road in conference. Always iffy. looking at the rest of the schedule here, Western Kentucky wins. Old Dominion loses. They lose to Rice at Rice. Southern Miss wins against North Texas convincingly on the road. And Marshall just really shuts us down, 65-49. Hanson got in the point total finally, but that's a bad one. That's Marshall. In the past, they've been a pretty good program, but that's a team we need to beat. And they just they kept us from shooting. They out-rebounded us. They didn't beat us in the turnovers, but we just had a poor shooting performance. I wonder how their center. No, I mean I don't think they're a strong team for what it's worth. Our bench play was a little bit better, it looks like, than our starters. Had some foul trouble. They went to the line 24 times. Not a whole lot of positives here. Woodley, I do have that transfer center coming in next year. I don't know if Woodley's going to develop into much more than a backup. He's getting decent minutes, but I just don't know if he's going to develop. Same with Dunkley, really. Dunkley's got to improve in a lot of things. I mean, he's below average in quite a few ratings there. Does have some potential, but I'd like to see him develop into that. So that's a tough loss because that gives us, gives me anyway, a bad feeling about our chances this year because I think we've got a more competitive and a tougher conference this year than we've had in the past. I think Southern Miss is for real. I really feel Old Dominion's for real after their non-conference record. And, well, the record against the teams they play, that's incredible. I don't think we would, we're not to that level where we could have that kind of a run in a tournament like they did and beat the kind of teams they did. Okay, so we got, and we're scouted for what it's worth. Our scout is maybe a 2-star scouting ability, or a coach who does scouting. I've noticed that he's been scouting us to win against some of these guys. Or most of the teams we play. So look at that loss there, moved us down quite a bit in net. Old Dominion still at 18, but Southern Miss. This would be a good win if we could get it. I wonder if any team is getting notice from this conference. Which I know I'm getting carried away. I know that's, but it seems like if you've got a good record and your net's really high, I would hope that means you're going to sooner or later show up in those top 25s. All right, so this is a big one. We would, even though we're home, I don't think it's going to be a gimme. And if they win, they're going to probably be one of the favorites to win the conference championship, at least regular season. Western Kentucky looks like they had a big win on the road. And Marshall, they're winning at home anyway. And then Old Dominion wins on the road. We need this one to stay up there where we need to be. And we get it 80-62. Payback for that championship loss last year. Dunkley, 20 points, man. He had a great game. And Woodley, so we must have matched up well against their center. I'll take a look at that right off the bat. Newton, he got into foul trouble. He's he's a junior, but he's ranked pretty low, so they're struggling. Maybe they're not. Maybe their season was last year. They got a good shooting guard here. Yeah, I mean, they've got decent depth for this conference, looks like, but they may have just had the team last year to give them the run they needed. So defensively, we held them under 40. We shot 47.5%. We out-rebounded them barely on the defensive side, but it was tied. It was 33-33 in rebounds. Free throws were good for us. Turnovers were good for us. Johnson, once again, not putting up much in the way of points. Just 2 for 8. shooting. Dunkley, though, had a great game. 20 points, 9 rebounds. One of the best games I've ever seen from him. That's his season high in points. That may be his career high in points. Good bench play. A lot of pluses there. You can see Drexler and Muhammad. They really contributed. Even Woodley looked pretty good off the bench. So that was a good win. If we can somehow sneak a victory here against Old Dominion, that would be huge. Really huge. But we might beat them at home, but I just can't see us beating them on the road. They're 13-3 now. I think they're also 2-1 in conference. I think Texas San Antonio had a year where I think they were 17-1. But it's so hard to have that kind of run, even in a conference like this. I mean, that Marshall loss. Here's Marshall, not that great a team, and they just really dominated us defensively. So, you're going to have a hard time. I think what I've noticed is like 12, 13, maybe 14 wins, but 13, we've won the regular season conference tournament twice now, or not tournament, regular season title twice with 13-5 records. I think you can be the best team in this conference and still struggle to get over 13 wins. So if we look at the way things are going around the league and around the conference in scoring, Western Kentucky wins, Rice wins, Marshall wins on the road. They're looking pretty good. I'll have to look at their record again, but they're looking good in the conference. Southern Miss wins. So this is probably going to be a tough one for us. No, it's not. What a win. 75-64. Now that was good. That was a very good win. And if you're Old Dominion, you got to be thinking what I was just saying, how hard it is to just dominate in this conference. But looking at how we won, we out-rebounded them. We won in turnovers. Shooting was close, but it looks like the free throw line played a big part in this one. And once again, Johnson, he got a lot of minutes. He got 19 points, player of the game. He's scoring 12 this year so far. You could see last year he was under 10, so it's good to see him scoring again. Dunkley had another good game. Wilcox pretty strong there. Hansen, he's just not giving me much at shooting guard. Now he's a senior. I still think I should go with him just because of his ratings, but I don't know what's happening. He's gone down every season. His field goal shooting is bad this year. I think maybe he's just cold and he'll get better. I mean, he was matched up against a decent freshman shooting guard, but I don't know if that should have been that big a deal. Woodley looked good off the bench. And I really like this from Muhammad, 6 assists. I think he's probably got the best chance of being the starting point guard next year when Johnson's gone. But what a win. We'll take a look at the standings just to see. That's going to put us up there, I'm sure, with several teams now at the top of the conference. I don't know if anybody is still undefeated. And we got North Texas, Western Kentucky, Rice coming up. Luckily, Western Kentucky and Rice are at home because those are two pretty tough teams to win against. But even North Texas, you can't rule them out on the road. I'm hoping that win puts our net up there. That's what I want to check when we go back to the end of the week here. All right, so we got scouting reports coming up on a couple teams. This freezes every once in a while, so I don't know what's going on there. Western Kentucky's 4-0 in conference. By the way, just saw that glance there. So Charlotte and Rice, standings-wise, So Western Kentucky, only undefeated team now. Middle Tennessee, our net's up to 11. Southern Miss is at 15. That net is one of the best I've seen. Now, polls and media, we're going to look at it again. We've got a higher net than so many teams. Why is that not translating into a higher ranking? I just don't understand it. Are we getting any love from the coaches? No. Well, surely that's going to happen. I know I'm being crazy about it, but surely that's going to happen sooner or later. Look at this. We have, because Southern Miss and Old Dominion are looking so good, records-wise, we have 6 of our games so far this year have been in quadrant 1, and we're 3-3. We have only the one loss in quadrant 3. That Marshall was a tough loss. That really bugs me because we have that one, and we're way in a way better spot. But dang, that's really that's better than last year. I don't know what's making those quadrant 1s, but I'll take it. I hope that because this can change, I think, as the season goes on. So I'm hoping the Southern Miss and even Texas Southern, I'm hoping that those stay as quadrant 1s. Texas Southern really surprises me. I mean, standings-wise, where is Texas Southern? Are they in like something like the Sun Belt, maybe? Or Southwestern Athletic? Yeah, that's where they're at. They have a pretty high net too. I don't know what's getting them there, but why that qualifies, but I'll take it. So down, this is going to be a tough one. Western Kentucky. And then North Texas on the road. So they're not going to be easy, but I hope that we can win this one, and that'll keep us all tied up there at the top of the standings. But looking around the league, Old Dominion took another loss. It's really surprising to me because of the way they came in. Even Southern Miss took a loss. So this would be a big win if we could get it. And we do big, 78-54. Johnson, double digits in points still. Dunkley, 9.7 rebounds. I mean, we definitely needed that one. I don't know if that'll qualify as a quadrant 1 win, but looking at the box score, we out-rebounded them, almost doubled them up in rebounds, held them to 33% shooting, and then look at the free throw difference, 25 of 28 for us. We've been hitting their free throws too, which is good. They only went to the line 13 times. Turnovers even. Good overall win. Johnson, again, player of the game. This is the line I'd love to see from him. Honestly, 14 points, just 2 turnovers, 4 assists, 5 rebounds. That's really good. And then all the starters positive. Even Hansen got his shooting back a little bit. Walker, who I'm expecting to have a chance at that starting power forward spot before it's over. I think Wilcox is just a little bit better right now, but Walker's not far away. And then he looked good off the bench. Woodley putting some points up, off the bench. Everybody got to play in this game, which is cool. You don't see that too often. Now, hopefully we're not going to have a letdown here against North Texas because we do have, I see Charlotte coming up on the road. That'll be a tough one. But one of the things that's a big struggle, season to season is like the streaks you get on. I've had streaks where we've had, like, I think at one point we had a 9-game winning streak, which was awesome, and that was way back 2 or 3 seasons ago when I realized how good we were getting. But I can't tell you how many times we will have a great win like that one we just had, and you follow it up with a loss against, some team that's struggling in the conference. The biggest one was last year against, I'll never forget that one, losing to a 1-10 Louisiana Tech team to start the season. That was terrible. So we got Southern Miss back in the winning column here, beat Marshall. Old Dominion wins against Texas El Paso. This is going to be a tough one to win. North Texas 3-2 on the in conference. We do though, 81-67. I really thought that would have been a tougher one to win. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. I still know we've got a lot of games left, but I really thought coming in we were going to be behind some of these teams. Man, this was a close one. Shooting, look at that. 44% for both teams shooting. We just got a few more free throws and made a couple more three-pointers, but once again, I think free throws made a big difference here. We're 90+% free throw shooting. We won the turnover battle. A lot of points in the paint. Isaiah Woodley off the bench was player of the game, 19 points. That's incredible. Now, I know this is the only recruit I had last season. At one point, he was rated fairly high, and there were things I liked about him. I liked his inside shooting. For some reason, his passing was better when I recruited him, so I thought he would fit into that Princeton offense. But, man, that's really good. If he starts playing, keeps playing like that, I think his ratings are going to improve. Johnson, another good game from him. He's averaging 12 points a game. Wilcox, almost a double-double, 10 and 8. Dunkley struggled. Got into maybe some early foul trouble. Baxter's been really quiet this year too. Not seeing much from him, but he's not a scoring, he's an all-around good defensive player, I think. But he's not going to score a lot of points. And then Muhammad had about as good a line, really, if not a better line, than Johnson. Plus 15, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Really good, strong win there on the road. So now, get through the rest of this week. We'll take a look at the standings again. We're going to be top of the standings still. And I'm going to go through 3 more games. That's what we need to get through to get to the halfway mark. The Charlotte one is going to worry me, obviously. Rice at home, hopefully we'll have the advantage there being at home, but they could be tough. It would be nice to go into midway part with 6, 7 wins, which is typically where we've been the last few seasons. Like I was saying earlier, I do still think 13 or so wins is probably what it's going to take to finish tops of the standings in this conference. I know that Texas San Antonio season, that was just unreal. So yeah, Charlotte, boy, they're going to be tough. They are tied with us in Western Kentucky at the top of the standings. Rice down here at 3-3. At the bottom, Louisiana Tech, boy, they're a struggling team, it looks like. Texas El Paso also struggling. But our net, keeps going up. We're 10 now. I don't know what it would take, with that kind of a net to get into the rankings. I think it's just going to take being, look at this, for instance. Of the teams in that top 10, we're the only one not ranked. Of the teams in the top 20 of the net, only 3 teams, Southern Miss, West Virginia, Ohio State, 4 teams, sorry. Only 4 teams are not ranked, either in the coaches poll or in the media poll. I guess it's just going to take a truly dominating season for us to get us up there. We take a look at the recruiting just to make sure that's still going. All of our recruits have either given us a verbal or signed. I just want to make sure nothing's really going upside down with these guys. Clarence London, man, he scoring in high school there. He's the 23rd. Regionally, though, he's like 5th in that position, so I think that's pretty good. Nationally, 23rd. It's gone down a little bit. Watson, 13th regionally at that position. Mark Cotton, 20. He's gone down, but I still like his numbers. And he was one of the things I mentioned last episode. He was a top 10 player at the Memphis Soup Summit. So I think that really is one of those kind of intangible things that really makes for a good player, or at least a good recruit. All right, so we got 3 more games to get through this episode. I'm hoping we prevail here because I really think that Charlotte one's going to be tough. I don't know if that's one that we can realistically pull out on the road. And I hope that we're playing them again, too. They did lose to Alabama Birmingham, so that's good. So we could lose to them and still at least be tied with them. But Western Kentucky won. Old Dominion lost. So they lost to Southern Miss. So Old Dominion not having the season I thought they would have. All right. So an 84-77 win here. Fairly close. Looks like Hansen finally got some scoring in there. Baxter, same way. He got 14 points. Don't see Johnson up there. But I'll take it if we get the win. This one, fairly close, honestly. They shot well, close in shooting. Once again, we got more free throws. That played a factor. We got a couple more three-pointers. We out-rebounded them, tied up in turnovers. Individually, Hansen, player of the game, he doesn't get there too much. I think that's only, 12 times, but he's been on this team for a while. That's one of his better games, 7 assists on top of that. Dunkley, only 9 minutes. So he's struggling. Woodley got 19 minutes here. Muhammad got 27. So there was probably some weirdness going on with the Johnson was in foul trouble. That may have played a part there, but some weirdness going on. Wilcox, update points. Be interested to see. His scoring is rated low as well. If he could get to double digits in scoring on the average, that would be good to see. So now I guess this is going to be probably, this game against Charlotte, this is going to be the toughest. Well, I would say the toughest on our, next 3 games showing up here. But it might be one of the toughest we're going to face all year long. Looks like they've got a good season going. They're the kind of team where it'd probably be hard to beat them year to year on the road. Although, I don't know, it seems like I remember them having a pretty awful year or two in this run of 6 seasons that I've been on. All right, so if they win, they're going to be tied. Not only will they be tied with us in the conference record, but we'll be tied overall record. And looking at the rest of the schedule, Old Dominion won, Southern Miss beat Western Kentucky. So looking at the standings just before we get this game going, Southern Miss 6-2. So Charlotte wins here. We're going to have 4 teams bunched up at the top of the standings. So, and if we win, that's going to put a little bit of distance between us and Charlotte. There'd just be 3 teams really up there at the top. And Old Dominion, surprisingly, 4-4 in conference. So that great start to their season didn't really translate here. And Marshall, even though the record's overall is pretty rough, they're 5-3 in conference. So maybe losing to them wasn't such a bad thing. Oh, and this was a great win again. 79-63. Dunkley in double digits there. Muhammad off the bench with 9. I don't know who's going to be the player of the game here, but maybe Dunkley. But great win. I mean, that put the distance between us and Charlotte now. Free throws were a big deal once again. We got the rebounds. We beat him in turnovers. Dunkley was the player of the game. Johnson back not scoring again, but just want to win. Him and Hanson both are getting most of the minutes on the team, so this was probably a bench win if I'm looking at it right. I mean, Muhammad getting a lot of minutes somewhere. I don't know where this guy's playing. It's just it bothers me that I think the depth chart gets a little out of whack, because if I'm looking at the depth chart, Muhammad is just straight up point guard. But I believe that he's being put in there at center. I don't see how else he could be getting those minutes up if you look at that. If you look at that game box score again, and I think that was the 26th. Yeah, I mean, Woodley got 10, Dunk 22. So, that's really troubling. I don't, because it just doesn't feel realistic if that's being thrown in there. And I have to believe that's where that's coming from. This guy can't be playing center. It just doesn't make sense. And I don't think, unless I see it in the insights, that's one thing that the insights will show you on the lineup tracking. Like, you've got point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. So Muhammad is being put in there at center occasionally. Michael Price, I've got him in there at center, so that's fine. I don't know. That was. It looks like it's not happening a lot. Just 9 minutes on average, but occasionally it's happening. I wish I knew what was going on there, but it doesn't look to be happening as much as I was thinking, for what it's worth. And it does look like, too, I mean, the starting lineup we have out there is the best, both in plus minus, probably all the way across the board, except for opponents' free throw percentage. But so we definitely have the best lineups, I think, going. But great win there. I don't know where that's going to put us. I don't know how that falls under the net, but record-wise, Charlotte was one of the best teams in the conference. So we got one more game to play, Texas-San Antonio. Hopefully this is not going to be a letdown. If we go 8-1 in these first 9 games, that's pretty crazy. I'll look at the schedule, too, to see what we got left. So we are 15-4, 7-1 in conference. I mean, already off to a better start than last year for sure. And some news here. Let's see. Hopefully we got the letter of intent. Oh, man. So that happens sometimes. London did not. I didn't think he was that risky, but there you go. So we lost probably our best recruit at this point, but now we're gonna have to see what kind of shooting guards we got left. Clarence London just could not make it. Man, this guy's been going up. I mean, can we? Let me take a look at what we got in terms of shooting guard, because I really want a good shooting guard. And, Clarence London, man, why did you do that? We got Chris Kern, who hasn't, I don't think he's visited, so I'm going to host him. Matt Martin. I mean, I wonder if I could host him. He's been here. I'll scout him live. I think I've gotten just about everything except playing time on him. He could work harder, but he doesn't miss practice. It looks like facilities is a big concern for him. So we're just, we're stuck in that evaluation as well. He's been here before. Let me see if I dial him, see what I can get from him in terms of pitches, playing time, and team prestige. So he doesn't really care. So now we got, this guy's a junior college, but his numbers look good. He's a good outside shooter, good passer. It's just that location is the big thing. So we'll see what he thinks about. I'll put as much budget as I can in there. Now, interested recruits. Gosh, I hate to lose London because he was the best recruit available, really. Kellum, his even Anderson, man, they're Kellum didn't make the score to make the SAT. Chris Kern did. He might wind up being the best chance I'm going to have. We're on his short list. Has he been to visit us? He hasn't. So I'll just have to see if I can work some magic here. Now looking at the standings, so we're fairly comfortable up there at the top, 15-4, 9 net though. Well, we've won 6 in a row. Let me check it out. I'm gonna keep checking it until we get there. So nope, we're still not showing on the media poll. And then we're not showing up here at the. Man, that's so disappointing. I mean, how can you be that high in net with that kind of record and just not be ranked? Disappointing. But who we got next? Texas San Antonio. Hopefully they're not going to ruin our season, give us an upset here. And this will be how we end it in this episode. They're not going to be a pushover, for sure. Now, looking at the rest of the conference, Charlotte lost again. Old Dominion beat Western Kentucky. Southern Miss lost. So that throws things off. If we can somehow win this one, we're going to be in really good shape at the top of the conference. We win it going away really comfortably, 86-68. Got some good points there from Duncan and Wilcox. So we're going to be 8-1 in conference, and I think that's going to give us at least a 2-game lead. Looking at the shooting and overall performance, this was close. I do like that turnover thing. 8 for us, 15 for them. We outshot them by about 10 percentage points. A lot of trips to the free throw line. Dunkley must be a good free throw shooter. Pretty good. 5 for a center is not too bad. 16 points. He's averaging 10 now. Wilcox, a good game. Johnson, not so much. Hansen, not so much. And then numbers are back in line with what I expect to see from the depth. Muhammad had another good game. He's scoring quite a bit. He's a good outside shooter anyway. Vining had a pretty decent game. He's in the running to be the starting shooting guard next year. So a really good win. So that's a good way to end this episode. We're really starting out better than we have in the last 3 seasons. Looks like 8-1. I just can't believe with that net we're not getting more notice. If I look at the schedule, Louisiana Tech, considering they beat us on the road last year, I wouldn't rule them out. But they're 1-8 in the conference. Texas El Paso, they're struggling this year. But we've got Southern Miss on the road, Western Kentucky on the road, Texas El Paso. I mean, we could easily go 5-4, 6-3 down the stretch here. But you know, if we do go 6-3, finish 14-4 in conference, I think we're gonna be in good shape. I don't know if a team's gonna win this conference with over 14 wins. I don't know if anybody's gonna get there, but that's where we're looking at. We'll finish out the season next episode. As always, I appreciate you guys' support on the channel and this playthrough, and hopefully we got another championship run coming for the conference. But more than that, I hope that we're going to make that tournament again, NCAA tournament, and get even further. I'm really gunning for Sweet 16 before it's over. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next episode.